The night they laughed at me, I was holding a champagne glass I never asked for, standing in a condo I used to pay for, surrounded by people who thought they already knew my whole story. You know that feeling when you realize you're not a guest, you're entertainment? Yeah, that happened. I was the ex, the nice guy, the one who still covered the rent. And apparently the punchline. It was an engagement party, bright lights, skyline view, catered food nobody actually eats. And there I was near the edge of the room listening to whispers that weren't even trying to be quiet. That's him, the broke ex. Can you believe he still helps her? They said it like it was adorable, like I was a stray dog that learned a trick. Her name is Marisol, and once upon a time she was my whole world. The guy she was marrying, Grant, had a laugh that filled rooms and a confidence that came from never being told no. His parents were worse, polished, smiling, deadly polite. Grant's dad clapped my shoulder like we were old pals and said loud enough for half the room to hear, "Hey man, heard your payment cleared again this month. Real dependable." People laughed. Not cruel laughter, not exactly. More like the kind that says, "Glad that's not me." I smiled, nodded, took it like I always did. Because inside my pocket, my fingers were wrapped around something cold and solid, something nobody in that room knew about. A brass key. And the funny thing is, they thought I was there to be humiliated. I was really there to watch them finish the story they'd been writing about me for years. 5 years earlier, Marisol and I ended things quietly, which somehow hurt more. No screaming, no cheating scandal, just that slow realization that love and direction aren't the same thing. She wanted more shine, more certainty, more of that life you see from the outside looking in. I was working construction management back then, steady job, honest money, nothing flashy. The night we broke up, she sat on the couch and said, "I can't afford this place alone. If I leave, I have to move back with my mom." And I knew what that meant for her. Constant criticism, no breathing room, feeling like a failure every morning. I looked around the apartment, the life we built piece by piece, and said something that changed everything. "I'll cover the rent for a year." She looked shocked. "You'd do that?" I nodded, because at the time it felt like the right thing. Not romantic, not heroic, just responsibility. I moved out that weekend, left my key on the counter, told her to change the locks. She said she would. We both knew she wouldn't. At first it worked. I paid on the first of every month. We texted occasionally, polite and distant. Then she met Grant. She told me like she was announcing a promotion. "He's amazing," she said. "He's driven. He's connected." I said I was happy for her, and I meant it, or at least I tried to. A few weeks later, she asked me to meet him. The bar had no prices on the menu, which should have told me everything. Grant shook my hand too hard, smiled too wide, and asked what I did like. He was checking a box. When Marisol mentioned nervously that I was still helping with rent, I saw something light up in his eyes. Not gratitude, amusement. "Wow," he said, drawing it out. "That's generous." He said generous like it meant pathetic. Then he turned to her and said, "Don't worry, babe. I'll take care of you now." And she didn't correct him. That silence stuck with me longer than anything he said. After that, his parents entered the picture and things shifted from awkward to theatrical. They smiled at me like I was a charity case. Grant's mom once told me, "It's sweet but a little sad. Don't you think, holding on like this?" They talked about me like I wasn't standing there. The nickname started floating around, not always to my face, but I heard it. The broke ex, the safety net. The 1-year agreement came up near the end and Marisol called hesitant. "I know our year is almost up. I could have ended it. I should have. But something about the way they laughed at my kindness flipped a switch. If they wanted to see me as weak, fine." I said, "Don't worry about it. Just focus on your job." Relief washed over her voice. That's when the whole thing stopped being about her landing softly and started being about time. Letting people underestimate you does something interesting. It gives you space. While they were busy joking, my career was changing. Bigger projects, better pay. Learning how money actually moves behind the scenes. I started investing quietly, living the same way I always had. Old car, same clothes, nothing that screamed success. And they noticed that too, just not the way they should have. To them, it confirmed the story. Then the building went up for sale. The condo wasn't just a condo, it was part of an older building with serious value, and the sale was quiet, private, fast. I had the means by then, and more importantly, I had the patience. I bought the whole building through a holding company with the most boring name imaginable. No one knew. Not Grant, not his parents, not even Marisol. The rent I was paying after that wasn't really rent anymore. It was a loop, a promise I'd decided to keep until I was done. I had a master key made old school, brass, heavy, honest. That's the key I carried. Every time they laughed at me, it reminded me I wasn't trapped in their version of the story. I was just letting it play out. Then Marisol called 2 weeks before the engagement party. Grant proposed, she said, breathless. I congratulated her. Then she added, his dad is buying the condo as our wedding gift. He's announcing it at the party. It'll finally be settled. Settled. Like I was an open tab they couldn't wait to close. I paused, then said, I'll be there. The night of the party, I dressed exactly how they expected. Same plain blazer, same broke X energy. In my pocket, an envelope and the key. Grant's dad clinked his glass and made his speech talking about family generosity, welcoming Marisol properly. Applause on cue. Then he said it. Tomorrow morning, we'll make a cash offer on this condo. Cheers. Smiles. And then because he couldn't resist, he turned to me and said, and to you, thanks for stepping up when she needed it. Your duty's done. Everyone looked at me. This was my exit, my final humiliation. I took a step forward instead. That's generous, I said calmly. But there's a problem. His smile twitched. A problem? Money's not a problem. I said you can't buy this place. Laughter nervous this time. Grant shook his head. Come on. His dad stepped closer, voice hard. Who are you to say that? And that's when I reached into my pocket and pulled out the brass key, let the light catch it. This is the master key, I said. To the whole building. Silence hit the room like a dropped plate. You can't buy it, I continued, because I already did. Right on cue, my attorney walked in with a folder and laid the paperwork out on the table like gravity itself. Deed, ownership, payment history. No speeches, just facts. The room emptied fast after that. People suddenly remembered early mornings and babysitters. Grant looked like he'd been punched. His parents looked small for the first time. Marisol stared at me like she was seeing a stranger. She apologized, shaking tears running, and I believed she meant it. But 5 years of silence weighs more than a few honest words. I didn't yell. I didn't gloat. I left. A week later, she got a formal notice that her month-to-month